Hello dear students, I am recording this presentation to brief you about innate resistance mechanism operating in respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract and genitourinary tract. Let us try to understand one by one each of this system. In respiratory system, we have variety of mechanisms functional to help in defending this area which is continuously exposed to the huge number of particles and the organisms. Now, what are these mechanisms? The first and foremost is air filtration system, which is functional in our upper respiratory tract and lower respiratory tract due to hairs in the nasal tract and cilia throughout the lining of the nasal cavity. Both of these are trying to filter out the particles of the larger size trying to enter in our respiratory tract, and the sneezing activity will try to remove this material forcefully out of this area. Second important thing is a mucosal membrane which is continuously present throughout the respiratory tract and is trying to trap the particles of size larger than 10 micrometer size. The particles lower than this size can try to enter the lower respiratory tract. The larger size particles are trapped initially itself in a upper respiratory system. Further, the beating of cilia in this region, it is like escalator mechanism. जैसे एस्केलेटर हमें नीचे से ऊपर की तरफ मूवमेंट करवाता है, वैसे ही the cilia beating in the upper respiratory system will try to move away this particle from the larynx to the pharynx region, and from this region the salivary process or continuous flow of saliva will try to move out or wash these microbes and try to manage it to enter it into stomach, where the very high acidity will try to kill the organisms. Additionally, it is implicated that in a upper respiratory system, in a nasal cavity particularly, the area remains moistened, and this humidity in this area causes the microbes to swell, and this swelling will help the phagocytic cell to engulf the cell from the upper respiratory system to be removed out, to be digested out. Now, those particles which are lower than the 10 micrometer particle size will enter into lower respiratory tract system. However, they will be they are coming in contact with the potent macrophage, that is called as alveolar macrophage, which are trying to kill these cells, kill this pathogen, which are trying to enter into lower respiratory tract. And coughing and sneezing are some of the mechanical reflexes or the mechanical processes which are trying to remove the organisms from the respiratory tract. So, all these mechanisms will maintain our respiratory system near to protected, preventing the multiple infections occurring in the body, trying to enter in through the respiratory system. Next is gastrointestinal tract, wherein the three major areas, that is stomach, small intestine and large intestine, possess their own mechanisms of protection. Like in a stomach, the very high acidity due to gastric juice, high HCl content or hyperacidic HCl content, and variety of proteolytic mechanisms or enzymes are destroying the pathogen. Those who are having some specific structural peculiarities, however, can pass through this area pass through this stomach acidity safely, like cyst of the protozoa. The Helicobacter pylori itself is this is the organism which can sustain this area and can skip that can cause gastric ulcer. Similarly, Clostridium, because of their and spore formation capacity, and the Staphylococcus toxin are reported to be safely removed or safely sustained in this area. Additionally, the organism, if have remained embedded into food particle, can pass through this gastric acidity safely to reach the intestine. The particles or the organism which are reaching the small intestine again has to face some challenges like variety of pancreatic enzymes which are highly digestive in nature. Additionally, intestinal enzymes are also continuously poured inside this area, and they are also hydrolytic in nature. Bile itself is highly inhibitory to the most of the organisms, and those who are surviving these mechanisms will have to face another mechanism that is called as lymphoid tissue, secondary lymphoid tissue called as gut associated lymphoid tissue. These are potent mechanisms which are a type of phagocytes which are trying to remove the organisms pathogen existing there. In addition to that, the continuous movement of the intestinal tract by the mechanism called as peristalsis, which is basically meant to make the passage of the food easy throughout this lumen, intestinal lumen, is also helping to move the organisms or particles which has entered in this area. In addition to that, there is a continuous shading of the columnar epithelial cell, that is the epithelial lining, inner epithelial lining cells are slowly removed out of this area with the aging, due to aging process or due to normal wear and tear process. And with this slogging of process of the cells, the organism adhered to this area will also be removed. So these are the mechanism functional in the small intestine. Coming to the large intestine, there are the one of the important mechanism in this area is existence of the huge number of normal microbiota, which provides a efficient competitive environment for the pathogen to exist. They are also releasing metabolic products which may be inhibitory for the new pathogen which are entering the intestine. Now, competition can be in the form of availability of the site for the attachment. For the pathogen to establish, the first mechanism will be attachment at the site of entry, right? So that is they may provide competition in the form of preventing them to attach the intestinal lumen, and they also have competition with respect to nutrient availability. So these competitions make this area unfavorable for the pathogen to sustain. Additionally, as we have seen, the mucous membrane which is continuously present in this area also will have the type of cells called as Paneth cells, which are liberating a type of defensins or the uh, cryptidins, which are a type of peptides having antimicrobial activity on the pathogens. Lysozymes secreted by the Paneth cell also removes the pathogen by inhibiting peptidoglycan synthesis. So, cryptidins are basically speaking are channel forming peptides creating a channel in the pathogenic cells and trying to eliminate that. This is shown here in the diagram in brief. Coming to the genitourinary tract. It comprises of kidney, ureter, bladder and urethra. So basically speaking, in a normal situation, kidney, ureter and urinary bladder remains to be almost sterile. Only the distal portion of the urethra may have the few bacteria, few microbes existing there. Now what are the factors responsible for the sterility in this area? It includes the flushing action. Urination during the process of urination, the urine is removed from the body in the way of uh, in the form of some flow, some rapid flow, and that rapid flow of the urine will help to eliminate the organism adhered in this area. Next, during urine formation, whatever the process is occurring, that is concentrating ability of the tubules will help to maintain low pH, high amount of the organic substances, organic acids eliminated from the metabolic, eliminated as a metabolic waste from our body, help to maintain the low pH, plus concentration ability of the tubules, urinary tubules will help to maintain the urine hypertonic. Both these conditions are found to be inhibitory for the microbial growth in this area. Additionally, multiple such products are there, multiple such metabolic waste is disposed of in the urine, which also help to prevent microbial entry and microbial sustenance in this area, like urea, uric acid, fatty acid. Mucins and enzymes are also liberated to some extent by the urinary epithelial lining, which helps to kill the pathogens. Now, coming to the urethra, the male and the female urethra is having uh, some difference in the sense of the anatomical length. Females are having shorter urethra and it used to remain open. So, the females will have the higher chance of acquiring urinary tract infection in comparison to males. Coming to the vagina, uh, an area which is remaining to be moist, and however it is continuously having secretion of the mucin rich in variety of the antimicrobial substances and the microbial flora existing over there, which also help to provide protection in this area. Now, how this mechanisms made possible? It is by the way of estrogen. Estrogen is considered to be having influence on release of the glycogen in this area, and this glycogen will be acted upon by the acid tolerant lactobacilli, which causes large amount of lactic acid to be generated, which makes the area acidic in nature, and thus the area becomes unfavorable for the growth and existence of the organism. As such, we have also seen earlier that cervical mucus is rich in variety of the antimicrobial substances like lysozymes, lactoperoxidase, etc., which also help to protect genitourinary tract from the attack by the uh, pathogen trying to enter in this area. So, this is something about the variety of mechanisms functioning in the three important anatomical regions of our body. These are the references I have used to make this PPT. Thank you.